So today we're making some ginger snaps. Kind of feels like it's a good holiday tradition, something we do this time of year. And once again, we're working from my America's Cookbook from 1944. So this is a wartime era recipe. They do ginger snaps as a modification of the sugar cookie. Now, I'm going to say, this dough ends up irritating me, and I end up finishing it off very differently. You'll have to see what I'm doing. But the ginger snap change is to reduce the baking powder by a teaspoon, add a quarter teaspoon, reduce the baking powder by a half teaspoon, add a quarter teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of ginger, and sift that with the flour. And then you reduce the sugar to a half cup and beat a half cup of molasses into the shortening sugar mixture, and omit the vanilla and substitute 2 tablespoons of water for cream. That's it. This is the sugar cookie recipe here if you want to pause and look at that. But let's make some cookies.
So after the adaptions, what we end up using is 2 cups of sifted flour, a quarter teaspoon of baking powder, teaspoon of ginger, a half a cup of shortening, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a cup of sugar, a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, a half a cup of molasses, 2 tablespoons of water, and 1 egg. So we're just sifting 1.5 cups of the flour, not all the flour, with the baking powder, the salt, the baking soda, and the ginger. And sift that all together. Yeah, I'm not so graceful at trying to film the sifting. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's what we're doing. So the next step is to cream the shortening. That is a half cup of shortening. And goodness, I'm kind of slow at that, even with this video going double time. Sorry. But I do cream the shortening first, and then I start adding in the sweeteners. So yeah, okay, so it's the sugar first, yeah, and then I'll add in the molasses, and then we'll add a whole egg. Once again, these are the eggs I get from a friend who has chickens, so I kind of have to hunt for an egg big enough. These are not necessarily your standard large egg, although that is probably assumed in the recipe. I'm not sure that even in the 40s, if they were necessarily assuming you'll have a full standard large egg. Anyway, I'm babbling. Sorry about that. I think the molasses adds a significant amount of the flavor to these. They are also what makes them the dough so very gooey. Anyway. And then, egg? Where's the egg? There's the egg. Oh, that's the water. Where's the egg? I know I have an egg. Oh, there we go. We'll put the egg in. And the egg. So I did water in the egg. I don't think it matters. Once that is done, we'll add the flour mixture that we'd sifted together with the ginger and baking powder and baking soda stuff. And then start gradually adding in the remaining half cup of flour once we've done that. I really like the flavor of these cookies, and I think they will make excellent Christmas cookies, as well as just kind of general snacks. But even chilling this dough, at this point, once you get all the flour mixed in, you chill it. Maybe it needs a little more flour. Maybe I should have floured the surface more, but the stickiness of this dough starts to drive me crazy, as you will see later. But as far as flavor, I think these are one of my favorite holiday cookies. So you do chill this dough to firm it up, but it got soft really fast. Maybe it's because I'm working here in Texas, and even into November the weather has not gotten very cold, so my house is not very cold, even with air conditioning still running. This might work better for people further up north, but you see how this dough just, it's gooey. It's a gooey mess. I tried adding more flour to the surface and to the board, and it's still just gooey mess. But I do try this to do it properly the first round. And I've only put out probably a third of the dough to start with. The rest is still in the fridge, trying to stay chilled. But once you get it rolled out, and yeah, get more flour. It doesn't make for a pretty looking cookie at this point with all the flour I'm trying to add to firm this dough up. But then you get a cookie cutter and you flour it. And I've got like just a little pile of flour off to the side that I'm dipping my cookie cutter in. I went for a basic round because, oh my gosh, this dough was irritating me. And so I was trying to keep my shape as easy as possible. And then you have to move these from the board you're working on onto the cookie sheet. And you'll see what a mess they are. The first few were okay, but as the dough warmed up, it got messier and messier. And then you sprinkle it with a little bit of sugar. So, second batch, or the second third of the dough, I did it as a drop cookie. This was so much easier. I did dip the scoop into some flour beforehand so that these things would pop out easier. It makes a different texture in the cookie. So when you've rolled them out, they're a nice crisp ginger snap cookie. When you do them as a drop cookie, they have a softer cookie texture. In the end, my wife prefers the softer cookies, so this worked well for us. They both kept well for several days. But here I am, like, I just put some sugar into a little container so I can more easily just pinch it out instead of trying to sprinkle it on with a spoon too. So that's I'm sorry, my arm is all in the way. I really should put the camera somewhere else. Sorry. But yeah, this drop cookie worked much better than the trying to cut them out. Except maybe it works better in cooler climates, or maybe it just needed more flour. But this is the first batch of cookies where I tried cutting them. The first few are very pretty. As you get through over the left, they're icky. But this is all of the drop cookies. And I think they turned out quite pretty for the most part. Only a few of them ended up weirdly shaped. But once again, fantastic cookie. Highly recommend. If you've actually made it through this far into the video, thank you so much. Just to let you know, this is actually part of a larger menu plan from World War II that I will be posting about in my next video. So there is a reason I'm making these other than it's the holidays and we should have ginger cookies. But once again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you're enjoying seeing me do my vintage cooking. I also have gardening videos that I do. It's kind of part of my fascination of the whole victory garden and ration cooking and World War II era stuff. And just because we all need a garden right now. Just my own prejudice there. But thank you.